Hey everyone, and welcome to another Patreon exclusive video for the Final Down NFL podcast with myself, Jim, Punk Raider, and Denver Dave in their respective boxes. Can't be wrong if I point everywhere. So for this week's Patreon video, we're going to be looking at the 7 head coaching vacancies in the NFL and what we would do as our first move if we were installed as the head coach. So that is the Jaguars, the Giants, the Texans, the Broncos, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Dolphins. A lot to get through. We're going to spend an awful long time on any of them, hopefully.
Are we touching on GMs, or can we just gloss over GMs? Because
if you want to touch a GM, you keep that to yourself.
It might help you retain your position, to be honest. So sure, you can mention them, Dave. I'll let you do it. Yeah, I can't stop you. Ever.
No. Do you know what? I've just noticed how beautifully coiffured your hair is today, Jim.
Thank you. Thanks. It's just at that right level at the moment.
Dave just needs a good pair of scissors going right across the top. Yours looks as lovely as ever. You know what I mean? You can't tell which way it's going.
On your head.
Yeah.
Nature created this. This isn't an accident. You can't make this. You're born with it or you're not.
Some sort of gypsy curse.
Your triple crown.
We talked enough on the normal pod about Nottinghamisms.
Look, let's talk about the Jags then. A great place to start always. They've got the first overall pick again. They've got 60.7 million in current of active cap space. What are you doing if you're installed as a head coach, apart from performing seppuku?
Well, the first thing I'm doing is getting Trevor Lawrence to cut his hair, because obviously that long hair is just not working for him.
But what if he's Samson? So, you make him even worse.
Well, if he's even worse, then he's going to get
being good. Come on.
He showed flashes of scoring 1 touchdown in 6 games, but yeah, okay. What am I going to do? I think it's got to be protect him, isn't it? Or give him a weapon, either or. For me, so yeah, first thing I'm doing is looking at that offensive line and getting him a nice left tackle. I think
with the first overall pick.
First overall pick, why not?
Pass rush.
Why not? Well, maybe pass rush, but the Jags defense is not dreadful, as they've shown in a couple of games this year. They're just not consistent. That's the problem with the Jags defense. I think the lack of points and the lack of scoring is a much more pressing need for this team.
Couldn't agree more. You need to keep him upright. You need to give him an extra second in the pocket to be able to extend drives. That's why he was the first overall pick and lauded as a generational talent. I think he could still be that. If you could maybe move down a couple of spots just to get an extra draft pick, I would probably maybe shop around that pick to see what I can get for it. But you're absolutely right. I want to go out the top 5. You need one of the best offensive tackle or the best edge rusher in the game coming into your stadium.
I mean, you're asking 2 questions really of what do you do if you're the new head coach. So Bill O'Brien is interviewing and apparently good friends with the Jacksonville GM. So if Bill O'Brien gets the job, then the answer's obvious. You get rid of all of the talent for not much draft capital and bring in players who are over the hill. I think that's reasonably obvious. I'd like to see Jacksonville go and get a wide receiver who can create space, get open, someone who's a real dynamic wide receiver like we've seen with Cincinnati. I think they don't have that at the moment. I like Laviska Shenault. I think he's good, but they don't have that bailout first option, first read guy for Trevor Lawrence.
Marvin Jones is supposed to be there.
They need. Marvin Jones was a wide receiver 2 in Detroit. So, asking him to make that step up, you're not immediately going to get someone who's a QB1, a wide receiver 1. I think they need a wide receiver 1 straight away. Marvin Jones is good. I like Marvin Jones, but he was never the number 1 in Detroit. It was always Golladay. And I think they need to go in either free agency and get that wide receiver or do it in the draft. I think they need a tight end who can block, because James O'Shaughnessy is not a tight end number 1. So yeah, I think there are holes on that offense. I'd certainly like to see a little bit of pass rush going in there as well.
You're doing an awful lot. First thing you do when you move in.
First thing you do, Dave. Doing everything. It take us a day to talk about everything wrong with the Jags.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Well, we've outvoted your O-line. Well, you can throw at
Yeah.
Travis Etienne on a wheel route 50 times a game. Next up, the New York Giants. They are currently picking 5th and 7th in the first round of this draft coming up. They've got 39.3 million in cap space. What are we doing with them? What is their most pressing need for us as a new head coach?
They've got the worst offensive line in the NFL. Some of that will be down to coaching, because I think there's talent there. They got Andrew Thomas. They got Matthew
He's the one
Pert.
bright spark on the line. Matthew Pert hasn't done
Matthew
well
Pert,
this
I
season.
think he's done okay in previous years. This season, not great. I think you're right. Need to get rid of, what's the name of that big guy there who was at Patriots? What's his bloody name? Nate Solder. That was it. He was up there eventually. Yeah, Nate Solder. Get rid of him because they're paying him far too much money and he's dross. But a lot of what they do is going to depend on who they're bringing as GM. They've not even started interviewing any head coaches yet because they need to get a GM first. So,
well, who would
it's
you?
difficult to know what
so, what
direction they're
position
going
would
to
you
go
be lobbying for then, if you were the head coach?
Offensive line.
Yeah. Okay. Any
Immediately.
Giants are a
any
mess.
argument
without
with
They're
that?
an
any question.
absolute mess.
Yeah.
No, I've got no argument at all. I think they should have started doing it last year, to be honest.
They did. They did.
You could, well, to a
Badly.
degree.
It was just
They
done
need-
badly.
They need
Nate
to do
Solder
it
came
right
back
this
from his
time.
year off because of COVID. He came back from his year off because of COVID. He swapped from left tackle to right tackle, and Andrew Thomas was playing left tackle instead. Thomas is fine. I think he's absolutely fine. They've not been good enough at guard, and I can't remember what the name of their center is, but he's garbage. The Giants' offensive line at the moment is just undercoached and overworked. They're just not good enough.
That is true. They had no backups at all, really. It was once they got some injuries, that was it. Okay, so it's very easy. I mean, I could be talking about the QB, but it's just too early to be. They've got so much
You
else
could
to
talk about the
figure out first.
QB. You could talk about the receivers as well.
Yeah.
You might even
Edge
sit there and
pressure.
go, "Is Saquon going to be the same?" You know, yeah, they could
That's
do
a
with some
really good
edge.
question.
You know,
Well, the funny-
it's-
At the beginning of the season, we did that awards prediction of who we thought was going to be, player of the year for various
Comeback
different things.
player,
We did comeback player of the year, and Punk, you picked
I did pick
Saquon to be the
Barkley.
comeback player of the
Yeah.
year, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that pick. But now that kind of reminds you that he's had 2 years off, basically,
and
and
you know,
that's hard to come back from.
it is with the injuries he's had, but that offensive line doesn't help him at all, and hasn't helped him all season. There's a reason he keeps getting injured.
I remember who their center is. Billy Price. He was the guy who was rubbish. He was
ex-Bengal.
the guy who was rubbish at Bengals, yeah, because they drafted him in the first
That's
round, and the Bengals went, "We'll pay all his wages. Just get out of the building."
Yeah.
Billy Price. That's the guy who's rubbish.
Mm.
Sorry if I keep pointing at the screen.
No, jabbing me.
It's your fault.
Yeah, the line is always the first thing to fix on a truly terrible team. The Texans.
Do you know what? The saving grace, though,
Oh,
is
we'll
that
talk
they've
about the
got
Giants.
Elijah Penny. The saving grace is the fact that they've got Elijah Penny, who is a fullback and one of the better blocking fullbacks in the league. Without him, it would have been horrendous. It really would have been bad. So yeah, move on from the Giants.
Texans, 3rd overall pick, 19.8 million in cap space. Nick Caserio is your GM.
I mean,
First thing I'm doing is putting Deshaun Watson back in.
Come what
Give
may,
him-
are you? Even if he's
make
guilty.
him head coach. Give him anything he wants.
What?
Just get on with it. You know what I mean? If
It's
he
not
if
going
he
to
wants,
happen.
well, in that case, trade him. Stop sitting around
That's
and,
what I
and
would
doing
I
nothing
would be
with him.
aggressively
You
trying
either
to
trade
right
him
now.
or you push him into playing.
So
You either-
word on the street, because obviously being a Denver fan, I've sort of kept tabs on it. All his legal situation comes to a head in mid February. So that's when because there's no criminal charges been brought. It's all civil charges.
Yeah.
And the rules in civil court, without going into legal things, is it's nothing to do with reasonable doubt. It's all to do with benefit of the doubt. So you basically have to be found 51% guilty. That's it. So are you more likely to have done it than not? So that's why you just see a lot of payouts in civil cases. So there's a good chance there's just going to be, there may be payouts for things that he allegedly did, and then everything will be over and done with. Because a lot of the time people just don't want to take risks in civil court. But it's sort of mid to end of February that all of that is willing to come to a head, and then as soon as that happens, it opens up the future for the Texans one way or another.
Whatever it is, whenever it is, between now and the beginning of training camp, you have to sort out the Deshaun Watson situation.
Yes.
Whether it's just trading him away for peanuts or trading him away for 3 first rounds and whatever else it may take, who knows? But you have to sort that situation out. You cannot move forward as an organization with Deshaun Watson sat around doing nothing.
Absolutely right. I think if we were going to talk about a draft pick, I would go secondary. You got to sort the defense out first.
I would trade it for as much draft capital as possible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they've got a decent amount of picks this year. They've actually got quite a few. But they have to hit on as many as they can. But I would still trade to get as much draft capital this year as possible.
Well, I'd hope to get that from the Watson trade and still keep the third and take possibly the best safety or best corner or one of the premier edge rushers that's in there. I mean, it's a very weird draft. It's not like a normal draft where there's going to be QBs the first 3 or 4 picks.
No, the situation that the Texans are in is I think they're in the unenvious position where they can just take best player available. It doesn't matter what his position is. It makes no difference. Just take the best player. As simple as that.
So from the Texans to the Broncos, they've got the 9th overall pick. They've got 47.6 million in current cap space.
Yeah.
Dave, why don't we ask you what you would do if you were the head coach?
Get a new quarterback.
The first thing is it QB? Okay.
Yeah. Get a new.
Didn't want to say it.
That's it. It doesn't matter who the new head coach is. It doesn't matter who the new head coach is. He's not going to be seen as being successful unless he has a new quarterback.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
That's all it is.
First thing that any head coach that goes into Denver has to do is sort out that quarterback position, because you haven't had one since Peyton Manning left.
We got loads. Not an half decent one though. No. I think I'm going to make a prediction. In 12 months' time, we're going to all be saying Matt LaFleur's rubbish. That's what we're going to be saying. You know what I mean by that. I think everyone knows exactly what I mean by that. That's what's going to happen this time next year. And we might be hiring Luke Getsy, who's the quarterback coach. We're interviewing him. We have interviewed him as the head coach. Now, Packers quarterback coach. Talk of Aaron Rodgers coming in, yada yada yada. Whoever comes in as our head coach, everyone's going to, if he has a good QB, everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, he's a good coach." If we do well,
exactly. And how do you become a good coach? By having a good quarterback that can win you games. Which QB are you going after?
We have draft capital and we have players we can trade. If you gave me free reign of anyone, without the legal stuff, it would be Deshaun Watson because he's the youngest and probably most talented of those available. However, there are legal issues. So let's take Deshaun Watson out of it. I'll go Russell Wilson because I think he is, on his day, one of the best QBs in the current game. He's phenomenal on his day.
He might have a heart attack having more than 1 second in the pocket, though. He wouldn't be used to that at all. Like, what the hell's this?
He'll be there. He'll be there going, "What do you mean we're not running it? It's first down. We always run it on first down. What's this all about? Hitting the side of his helmet? I can't hear you properly. You didn't say run it." But yeah, what happens. We have to get a new QB. Simple as that.
I'd like you to have.
Don't draft one. Don't draft one. We can't draft a QB.
Don't draft a QB.
It's got to be a ready-made win now QB. You can't keep doing what you have been
projects and journeyman. So with that, let's go on to the Bears.
That was nice and easy.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah. No first round pick for the Bears. They've got picks in the 2nd round, 3rd round, 2 in the 5th, and 1 in the 6th. They've got 39.3 million cap space. Yeah.
Do you mind,
you've got a franchise QB waiting
one?
to go.
Do you mind if I go first?
Yeah, go.
I think the first thing you do as a head coach coming in, you should say, I want him to sign a new contract. I want him to sign a new contract. Retain the players that you've got, because for too long, the Bears have let players go who they shouldn't let go. Then the second thing you do is go and be super aggressive in free agency. When was the last, genuine question now, when was the last time, apart from the Khalil Mack trade, in free agency or in trading, where you looked?
That was quite a big trade, you know what I mean?
It was, but I'm saying, when I'm saying in recent history, I'm going back like a decade. When was the last time you said, "God, Chicago really pulled a good one in free agency and trading there"? It
How long's
doesn't really
Ryan Pace
happen.
been there?
I mean,
You have
you
to go
raise a
back
very
pre
good
that, wouldn't
point
you?
as well. You do raise a very good point as well. But I mean, even the Khalil Mack trade, it was 2 firsts for a pass rusher, which is, as far as I know, unprecedented. I mean, they've come out of it well because of the people the Raiders picked up. But that's nothing to do with nothing to do with Chicago. No. It doesn't ever feel like Chicago are in. You never sit there and go, "Gosh, Chicago have signed some real good players there." It just doesn't really happen in free agency. So they have to go, forget about the draft for a minute, just go and be aggressive. You got the cap space, go and do it. And you've got the cap space because of Justin Fields.
First thing I do if I go into Chicago as the head coach is hope that Aaron Rodgers goes to a different division.
Oh yeah. Pay for some plane tickets or something, you know. Whatever you can do.
Do something. Do whatever you can, you know. Usher him out the door to any other division at all.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing I do. Well, yeah, no, absolutely.
Get him into the AFC,
chuck him out into
please.
the AFC, and be done with him. But
all the big quarterbacks live.
The Bears are a difficult one because you kind of look at their roster and they've got what should be talented players, but for whatever reason, it's not happening. So I think you're right when you say go in and re-sign those players and keep hold of what you've got. I think when it comes to drafting that, you're almost in that position of being able to take best available. But I do think
from the second round,
but you do definitely want to be picking up weapons. So I think give your young quarterback a chance and put some players around him. So pick up a wide receiver or a nice dual threat running back or something like that. That's what I do. Anyway.
I'd look at the line as well, just because I need him to stay healthy. And there were some issues last year.
You can, but it's just a bit boring if we say look at the O-line for every single one of these teams.
A truly bad team, you've got to start with a line, haven't you? So let's not say that. Let's say wide receiver. Yeah, come on.
Let's say wide receiver.
Once you've re-signed everyone, Dave brings up a very good point. You need to retain the talent you've got. Sparse that,
because you've got guys like Eddie Jackson. I don't know if he signed a new contract yet, but he'll be coming up soon because he was a 3rd or 4th round pick. So he's going to be on pittance, and this year he's not been great. But he's one of the better
as well.
No, he signed a big one. He signed a big one a few years ago.
Did he? When he moved, was because I know he was in his last year when he moved. So I don't know if he signed an 8 or something.
Roquan Smith coming up. Eddie Goldman's going to be coming. I mean, these are all on the defensive side of the ball. Bobby Quinn.
Yeah.
Bobby Quinn. Bobby Q.
Bobby Quinnell.
You're going to have loads of players coming up soon who are going to be, whose deals are going to need penning soon, and that for me is one of the keys because they've got some real talent, really have.
Decent coach, be well away.
Penultimate team we've got to sort out is the Minnesota Vikings. They're picking 12th overall. They've got minus 11 million in the current cap space.
That will be sorted out easily enough.
Yeah.
Cut Cousins.
Cut Cousins.
Yeah.
What are you putting in there instead?
Go and find someone. There's loads and loads of veteran quarterbacks. There's loads of veteran quarterbacks out there.
Better the devil you know.
No, you don't. No, the thing is, right?
If I'm going into the Vikings, it's Cousins.
There's not loads out there. No, there's not. You have to trade for them, and they don't have the value. I think if they, rather than cutting him, they need to use him as trade bait. Send him to the Raiders and take Derek Carr.
We're not taking him.
Make some play. Do you know what I mean?
We're getting Russell Wilson if we lose Carr.
No, you're not. Pipe down.
We are.
You're gonna trade Carr
pictures of him walking around in a Raiders shirt.
Mariota. I don't care.
Photoshop's a hell of a thing.
So, Mariota is still better than Bridgewater and Locke, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Oh, I agree, 100%. absolutely 100%. I don't know what I'd do if because Minnesota have got all the pieces. They're just a few pieces, the quality pieces short. But it's like wide receiver. You look at wide receiver. They've got Justin Jefferson, and they've got Adam Thielen. But behind that, you got like KJ Osborne and that
He's
fellow
been
with the
scoring
triple
touchdowns. Look,
barrel.
we know what the problem is with the Vikings, and it's not on the offense. All right, that defense is turgid. They need a whole new secondary. They've either let
I
guys
don't
get too
think they
old or too
do.
slow or too rubbish. They do.
I don't
Need
think
a
they
new,
do
new
because
safety, a new cornerback. They need
Harrison
that stuff
Smith's still
sorted.
decent.
They
Harrison
need
Smith. Who's
they need new
who's
safety.
the
There's
so
two
they got
safeties in the game.
Patrick Peterson. They got Patrick Peterson.
Ancient.
Xavier Woods the other one. Patrick Peterson is too old. I agree. And they probably need another cornerback. But I can't remember who the other Danzler Dan I
Cameron
can't remember what his
Dantzler.
name is. Yeah, he's the other corner. Maybe they do. I don't think it's massively a major weakness. I think their major weakness is already gone. I think their major weakness was Zimmer. I genuinely do. I really, really do think that's going to have a
there's the one, isn't
significant.
You can't
So
say as
when-
a new head
when-
coach, I'm just going to walk in and that's it.
When
It will make
Zimmer
it better.
when Zimmer pitches up in Denver, he's gonna trade for Cousins, isn't he?
He's not even interviewing, mate. He's not
There
even
you go.
interviewing in
Yeah,
Denver.
That's what's
Yeah,
happening.
Plenty
Yeah,
of time. Plenty of time.
that's
he's
what's going to happen.
We've
That'll be
put all of
amazing.
we've put all of our slips in. Yeah, we're not interviewing Zimmer. Thank God. I've got to say, I was a bit nervous. I really was. When I saw the slips start coming in, I was like, no. But no, Zimmer's not interviewing. Not
Just
interviewing
so I
for
want to
anyone.
confirm then, our advice as a new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings is to just not be Mike Zimmer.
Don't
Yes.
be
Is
Mike
that what we're
Zimmer
saying?
First thing you
and
need to do, not be
and
Mike Zimmer.
gets improvement in players. I might go with a linebacker actually. I might just go with a
Well, they got
real. They're not terrible at
Kendricks, they got
linebacker,
Eric
but
Kendricks, they got Anthony Barr.
yeah,
Can't think of anyone else.
I'd quite like to just have one really good solid. The problem with the Vikings, and
Can't
we've
think of
said it
any
all
others.
along, is that the offense are really good and the defense are fine in spits and starts. So
Yeah, defense are fine, but
you
they'll let you
have
down
to
in
go
key
big.
positions.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you have to go and just get some reliable players. And if I can get a very,
Yeah.
very nice, reliable middle linebacker, then I'm a happy man.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jim. I think secondary needs bulking out. Yeah, whether you do that in free agency or get somewhere. What are their draft picks? What have they got again? What are we looking at?
12th
Have they got
overall.
first rounders?
They've got the 12th overall pick in the first
Yeah,
round.
go
So that
corner.
could be
Get
safety
yourself a
or
solid.
corner,
Get yourself
couldn't
a solid
That's what I'm
corner.
saying.
Hope
That's what I'm
that-
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Then I will bow down to you and subscribe to your
Thank you very
newsletter.
much. Thank you. The final team we've got to sort out then is the Miami Dolphins. They're actually waiting on the 49ers to know where their draft position is in the first round. They do have 8 picks in total, though. They have 73.6 million in open cap space, so plenty that they can do in the off season. But as we know, the reason that there's a head coaching position available is because you must develop Tua Tagovailoa as the head coach.
Yeah.
So
You
the
cannot
first thing you
talk
do-
about another quarterback.
First thing you do is you realize that you're keeping Tua as your quarterback and you help him out by giving him a running game. So how do you get a running game? You either improve your offensive line or you get a running back. So, again, for the Dolphins, it's more about the pieces around rather than actually a massive overhaul. They're not a bad team. The defense especially, they played badly this year, but they've got pieces. They've definitely got something there. I think this could be one of the better coaching jobs to get, to be honest. I think going in there, there's more pieces in Miami and probably Minnesota rather than anywhere else.
Mhm.
Plus the weather's decent down in Florida. Although, as we've noticed, you do tend to get a lot of felony watches, so you need to look out for those red flags. You know what I mean? So, I think for me, it really is beef up that running game and get either a really good run blocking guard or pick up a really primo running back.
Yeah, I think the only concern that I have, I agree, by the way, I think the run game is a concern. It's where running backs go to die. I mean, Philip Lindsay's gone to the Dolphins and, his career's somewhat tailed off. But it literally is where running backs go to die, Miami. The concern that I would have if I'm going in as a coach, if I'm an offensive coach, for example, is that the defense last year was very good, but the head coach was a defensive guru. So is there going to be some level of drop off almost? So I might want to go in there and just re-strengthen that a little bit in free agency and bring in maybe an extra linebacker or someone who's really going to help out with that on that leadership side of the ball. So I think that's something to maybe look at. But I agree, the offensive line has got to improve because you can't have a successful quarterback who's constantly under duress. You just can't do it.
No,
it's a boring answer, but
it is boring. But
sorry,
a lot of these teams have the same problems.
Their defense is pretty decent. They've spent a lot of draft capital on that defensive line, and a lot of money into the secondary.
My only worry is that now they've got rid of my God, what is his name? Flores. Jesus Christ. I think it's Costa. Right? Definitely not Costa. Yeah. Now they got rid of Flores, and Flores controlled that defense. I mean, he was going through enough coordinators where it had to be him or it wasn't going to be anyone really.
Yep.
And that defense was fine. The Miami defense was absolutely fine.
But the thing is, I know what you're saying, but the thing for me is that actually, if your offense can help your defense by keeping drives alive and maintaining drives and pushing down the field, and get them off the field, give them a rest. I mean, that in and of itself might actually counterbalance what you lose from losing Flores as the kind of defensive mastermind. So I think it if you concentrate on the offensive line or a running back or both preferably, then to me it helps Tua. It should give him a bit more time in the pocket. It will give him more option on play action. Plus, it gives your defense a rest. It's almost a win for every kind of department in the organization.
You know what? I agree. It's not me changing the subject. It's not me disagreeing with you. But I've just thought, the first thing I would do if I was a head coach, I would go
sign your contract.
No, I'd go and get a punt returner because it really irritates me that Jalen Waddle is returning punts. He's a first-round pick and he's returning punts. Get a punt returner.
Deion Sanders
they do that with rookie wide receivers.
He was returning punts.
I don't care. He's my first round. I spent a first round picking him. I don't want him playing special teams at all.
Deion Sanders was like pick number 5.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't want a first round wide receiver returning punts. Who's that lad at the Detroit? The one who's I can't remember what his bloody name is. Go and get Jamal Agnew. Go and give him a 4th round pick for Jamal Agnew. There you go, done. He's going to be my punt returner for the next 5 years. That's all I want. I don't want Jalen Waddle.
Get Devin Heston out of retirement.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd rather that than having Jalen Waddle there. I'm not having it.
Well, wouldn't
it be annoying if you went and got Devin Heston? It meant he couldn't go in the Hall of Fame because you went and signed him.
Can't go in the Hall of Fame because he signed for one more year with the Dolphins.
Yeah,
I don't like putting that much investment into a wide receiver to then all of a sudden be punt return. It's probably because he's asking to do it and he enjoys it and stuff. I just don't like it.
Yeah,
you wouldn't see Jamar Chase, returning punts, or if he does, he shouldn't be. So yeah.
Antonio Brown used to return.
He did. I was going to avoid saying that.
Antonio Brown does an awful lot of things which I wouldn't also agree with. So let's not use him as a yardstick, eh?
Let's get out of here. So thanks very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the what we would do as a head coach for those 7 ailing franchises. And thanks very much for being a supporter on the Patreon. But I've been Jim. That's been Punk Raider. That's been Denver Dave. Cheers.